Thank you, Convener. I haven't actually in this chamber ever witnessed the level of debate sink quite so low, and I'm slightly appalled by the whole thing. I could take the remarks of Councillor Alexander personally, but then so would every chip shop owner, sweet shop owner, elderly person. Goodness knows, I don't know who in Moray he actually likes. There are lots and lots of people who have written to me, more than the handful that seem to have written to Councillor Alexander, many, many hundreds. I have tried to listen to them all. I have tried to respond to them all as well. I'm particularly grateful to the young people who wrote to me with endings such as yours, Charlie, age 7, and it gave me a great opportunity to end in a similar fashion with yours, Sean, age 33 and a quarter. So I didn't leave school that long ago either, Councillor Alexander. I want to point out that I have a petition here received by Councillor Howe and Councillor Ross on behalf of the people of our community. 5,186 signatures fighting to save Milnes High School. The work that they have done, the work of the businesses who have supported them, has been absolutely outstanding, and I thank them all for all of their efforts. I have not come to any decisions about our schools lightly today. I involved myself with the Education Review because I believe in schools that are fit for the future. I expected to be taking part in a far-reaching, innovative, creative and wide-ranging review of our schools. I expected to hear lots about IT and dramatic new ways of delivering excellent services, kind of like the vision that we often hear from our new Director of Education and Social Care, Lawrence Finlay. It has proved to me that we have outstanding ideas right here in this council, and we don't need to go looking elsewhere for other ones. Because what we got instead was a none of the above option, and we got a list of school closures, which is why this has become a debate about school closures. We were engaged in the Sustainable Education Review in one of the largest school consultations conducted anywhere. But sadly, when the report was published, it seemed that consultation was actually just an empty word. We cannot engage in consultation exercises, then give absolutely no heed whatsoever to what the public tell us. We also, Councillor Skeen, cannot use the word sustainable as a byword for cost-cutting. This was not supposed to be about money, and the panic about money from 3 members of the administration today kind of looks like dishonesty. I'm acutely aware that none of us came into this chamber with plans to close our schools, and that my area is not the only area being asked to make sacrifices. But it is being asked far more than most. When our towns and villages look set to grow, the idea of removing schools looks short-sighted at best and uncaring at worst. Port Gordon, with plans for 80 new homes, needs its school. Our coastal villages are in danger of disappearing if we remove all the ties that bond us together. It would prove fatal to lose the school in Port Gordon. Mistodloch, also with lots of plans for expansion, with many new homes in the plan, has its own set of circumstances. It is a school that's in dire need of replacement, and I've been heard saying it many, many times before. I've campaigned for it since my first days in this chamber, and before then. It's a new school that Mistodloch needs, not no school. And we come to Milnes Primary. You know, maybe if Councillor Alexander had gone to Milnes Primary, he wouldn't have rejoiced at the age of 5 at the idea of knocking down his school. Because I went to that school. I'm proud today to be wearing the school tie. And I went to that school, and the story that that school's history teaches our community is that you don't ever leave your community behind. That is the story of Alexander Milne, a poor servant who made, yes, through means which nowadays in society we would not claim to be brilliant by any stretch of imagination. But he made his money and didn't forget where he came from. So on his deathbed, he made sure that the poor people of Fochabers would be looked after once he was gone. So that is the lesson that we learned from the story of Alexander Milne. I sit here as one of many generations of my family who went to Milnes, and I'm proud of everything that it taught me. I'm very, very proud of our area. I have been accused over the last couple of years of getting into bed with the Tories a lot lately, but I'm happy to be in bed with the SNP on this as well. An area which elected a Labour councillor, a Tory councillor and an SNP councillor. We've come together and in agreement that Milnes has to stay open. Councillor Skeen mentioned earlier on capacity. Now, for me, the idea that when Elgin's primary schools are absolutely bursting at the seams, and its secondary schools are set to be full up. The idea that you bus more pupils in when Elgin will be growing even further is absolutely absurd. Now, our area has suffered over the last year, and I believe the school has suffered because of this report. I hear tales of staff morale at an all-time low, which is understandable given they have had an axe hanging over them for the last year. I believe that they would have an axe hanging over them for another 5 years with a moratorium. Uncertainty can be incredibly dangerous for small communities, so we should remove the uncertainty swiftly. That is why a moratorium would not make a difference to my community. We need to know our schools are safe, and we won't get the staff that we need and that Councillor Skene talked about wanting if the jobs don't look safe. So that is why I will propose, at the end of my remarks, a motion to remove all secondary schools from consideration of closure. You know, closing Milnes High will not be a popular decision. I think we can all be sure about that. But sometimes I notice that some people in politics relish taking the unpopular decisions, making unpopular choices. And they believe that those are the same things, tough decisions and unpopular choices. Well, they're not the same thing. The right decision here is to recognise that this is a school well worth investing in because it has created and will continue to create a vibrant and colourful community like few I've ever seen. It has helped create the kind of community many of us in Moray enjoy and others in today's fast-changing world can only hope to enjoy. One where neighbour still looks out for neighbour, one where if your child misbehaves you'll find out about it because every child is under the watchful eye of every parent. I know countless families like mine who, when suffering bereavements or in tough times, have gotten through because of the kindness of their community. And we help each other out because that's what we were taught at Milnes. Simply put, to close Milnes would break this community's heart, because Milnes is our heart. It makes us who we are, the passionate, friendly and caring community that we are. Milnes makes us, and I believe long may it last. So I move the motion to reject any secondary school closures in Moray.